Seahorses. They're some of the most unique, specialized, and charismatic creatures in the ocean. Somewhat mythical in nature, the scientific name hippocampus literally translates to horse sea monster, a reference to the Greek mythological monster of the same name. In many ways, seahorses are the thing of legend. They are elusive, alluring, and pretty goofy and weird. Seahorses aren't like most fish, and really aren't like most creatures in general. In fact, ask any elementary school kid about seahorses, and they'll likely tell you one super strange fact, that the male seahorses get pregnant. And, well, this is sorta true. While male seahorses cannot actually get pregnant, they do take on a larger role in the gestation process, making them the quote-unquote Mr. Mom. The female seahorse will deposit her eggs into the male's pouch, similar to the pouch of marsupials such as kangaroos, and the male will aerate, osmoregulate, protect, and incubate the eggs for a time period anywhere from 10 days to 6 weeks. The process is both time-consuming and energy-consuming, but necessary to ensure successful seahorse offspring. And they're not just a doting dad, seahorses are faithful partners too. Seahorses form monogamous pairs, with many species mating for life. As a result of the significant effort putting into creating their young, a lot of work goes into the maintaining of the seahorse partnership. Seahorse pairs perform a daily greeting consisting of a dance and color changes. The ritual can even last up to 10 minutes or longer. The greeting serves as a way to reinforce the pair bond, ensure each partner is still alive, and sync up reproductive cycles. As far as has been observed, there is no death or infidelity among seahorse pairs, with the only potential separator being death. Monogamy is rare in the animal kingdom, and even rarer among marine species. However, for seahorses, monogamy seems to be the only viable option. Their small and scattered habitats and lack of mobility make finding mates a daunting task, and hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime task. However, many people like to believe seahorses are simply caring creatures, forming lifelong bonds and breaking traditional gender norms. It makes for a fun story. Regardless, seahorse partnerships are integral to understanding seahorses as a species. But how do seahorses choose a mate, especially considering that it's a lifetime commitment? For most species, the females tend to be more choosy, whereas the males tend to be more competitive and showy. The reason being that the females will invest more time and energy to conceive and raise their young. They need to be picky to ensure the next few weeks, months, or years are worth the effort. However, in seahorses, the male carries the role of parent, whereas the female does not engage with her young after depositing her eggs into the male's pouch. For many years, scientists assumed that due to this unusual role reversal, male seahorses would be choosier than their female counterparts. The more energy expended, the higher the stakes, and therefore the more selected the sex. This sex role reversal was seen in a study done on 2 different pipefish species, members of the same family as seahorses, and thus it was expected this reversal would be true for seahorses as well. Except it wasn't. After further research, scientists discovered that seahorses still follow traditional sex roles, despite what had been previously hypothesized. In a study conducted at the University of Cambridge, researchers noted that male seahorses exhibited classic competitive courtship behavior, including wrestling and snapping. They noticed that successful males were larger in size and displayed more courtship behavior, whereas the successful females were the same weight and girth and exhibited the same behaviors. The scientists found some evidence of females even inciting competition, as they were found bringing their courtship partners closer to other males. This was puzzling for scientists. Why were females still choosier when the males were the one making the major energy investment? The conclusion was that females still had more to lose in the courtship process. In 2 trials in this study, certain females dropped their prepared eggs, which take significant time to produce, and were unable to mate for the remaining duration of the study. Male seahorses, however, are able to lose one courtship and then immediately move on to find another mate. They don't have to wait in the same way females do. And so, while male seahorses are able to play the doting dad and marvelous Mr. Mom, the females reign as the choosier sex. The fact that seahorses still exhibit traditional sex roles is the main thread that connects all seahorses. Aside from that, and their lack of swimming ability, seahorses are pretty varied. They range dramatically in size, with some reaching lengths of over a foot and others that are the size of a grain of rice. A lot is still to be discovered when it comes to researching seahorses. Their widespread habitats, somewhat solitary and elusive nature, partnered with the difficulty of keeping them in captivity, makes them difficult study buddies. What we know is that there are 47 different species of seahorse, 14 of which have been discovered in the last 8 years. Seahorses aren't good swimmers, and often have to latch onto floating debris and seaweed in order to travel long distances. Because they're not strong swimmers, they rely on their camouflage to protect them from prey. They have chromatophores, pigment-containing cells within their skin that enable them to change color. While this allows seahorses to remain safe despite their lack of swimming skills, this also limits their habitat significantly. So why am I telling you this? Well, as water temperature rises, many aquatic species are migrating polewards in search of colder seas. However, for seahorses, with their highly specialized camouflage and limited swimming capabilities, this may not be an option. Climate change, ocean acidification, and the curio trade are all factors with major effects on the seahorse population. Many organizations are fighting not only to protect seahorse populations, but to use seahorses as the mascot for ocean restoration. A number of environmentalists are using the unique qualities and cute characteristics of seahorses to persuade people to care about the fight against global climate change and overfishing. And hopefully, using the allure of this mighty sea monster, they can get the word out that people need to care. And so, if you can take away one thing from this video, let it be this. Just as scientists needed adequate time and research to discover the truth behind seahorse sex rules, additional time and resources are necessary to further understand these mythical in nature fish.